everybody. For my CE300 digital reflection, I wanted to talk about This is Water by David Foster Wallace. In particular, I wanted to talk about, number one, how the shift in the way we think kind of sounds easy on paper, but in reality it's almost impossible. Number two, I wanted to reflect a little bit on how, or whether or not David Foster Wallace was a leader in light of his suicide just a few years after this speech. So I'm just going to speak a little bit and enjoy. So there's something in the way this speech is delivered that you can't help but to start to think about the things that he's saying. David Foster Wallace himself talks about how obvious this is, but how little attention we give to it. And in fact, it's something that is so big and something that's so controlling over our day-to-day, and exactly, how our day goes, or, whether we have a good day or a bad day. And although it's something that's so huge in our own perception, it's something, and the change that needs to be made to alter the way we think seems so small, it's something that we can't do. It almost seems that it's the nature of our own perceptions and self-consciousness to be able to recognize these things, but for them to be extraordinarily difficult to change. I really think that this is what David Foster Wallace is getting at. He wants to point out to the viewer, or the listener, I guess in this case, kind of the obvious of how poorly we treat our fellow humans at times, and for no apparent reason other than we see ourselves as the center of the universe, when in fact we're not. But more so, I think that he is trying to point out that there's something that we see, but that we actually almost can't change about ourselves. We're kind of pre-programmed to treat this way, and no matter what we do to try to fix that, no matter what we try to do to change that, it kind of sticks with us. And if there are times when we feel that we've done it, it's often faked. That if we're kind to somebody and don't really want to be, that's kind of faked, and it's not really a shift in our person. And I think for me personally, watching this video, I thought about it. I really, really did think about it, and it resonated with me. It really hit me as in, this is something that I do, this is something I see that everybody does, and it's something that I'd really like to change. But subconsciously, I forgot about it in a few days. It stuck with me for a few days, and I thought about it in my interactions with my people. I thought about it, but then it left. I did not think about it again until this reflection video, really, until I had to think about it again. So yeah, I think that kind of sums up what I think the main point of David Foster Wallace's point is in his speech, is that this thing, which is so big, and the change that we need to make personally to change that is so small, but we can't do it. We can try, but we will fail, and we can try, but we will fail. So in that sense, it almost seems like a hopeless endeavor, but it's not something to stop to think about. And that ties into the second part of whether David Foster Wallace was a leader or not. When that question was asked in class, my immediate response was, no, he's definitely not a leader, because he's not a leader in actions. To have given a speech on this subject, and then just a few years later to take your own life, seems like that person did not fully understand what they were speaking on. But then I realized on my further reflections that it was me who didn't understand what he was speaking on. He wasn't posing a solution. He was shedding light on the issue, and that was, man, we really, really need to change, but it's really, really hard, and I don't know that we actually can. So in that sense, I still don't think that David Foster is a leader in action, because I know that he could have been in this situation, because there's not much action that we could have taken. But I do think that he is a leader in that he refused to stop thinking about something that every part of him wanted to stop thinking about. So much so that I think, I don't know the circumstances of his suicide. I don't know the personal issues surrounding that. But something like this, something that is so difficult and challenging, that when one refuses to stop thinking about it, I feel like it can send somebody deeply, deeply into depression. So just to summarize real quick, I think firstly the intent of David Foster Wallace's speech was to shed light on an issue that all humans will face, and they will struggle with, and they will probably fail at. But I think the intent of him pointing that out was to tell everybody to not stop thinking about it. And number two was to say that David Foster Wallace was a leader. Like I said, he was not a leader in action, because he's not leading people to take the same route he did, but he's a leader in that he refused to stop thinking about it, and that's something that we should follow him in. That was my personal reflection for CE300. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.